This is Dr. Gigi Sabbat, and you're listening into the Walk With Me podcast. Joining me today is our amazing guest, Tony. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Gigi, how are you doing?
Fantastic. It's such an honor to have you here today, Tony. Now, can you start off by telling us a little bit more about you and where are you from, Tony?
Yeah, I'm out of Nashville, Tennessee, based out of Nashville. I've been here my whole life. Started in 1970, so I could date myself a little bit there. But yeah, it's been my home except for college. Went away for college for 4 years, and then came back, and then met my lovely wife in 1997. Yeah. So a little bit about me. Yeah, I went to school for engineering. So I liked cars and I liked math. So that sounded like engineering. So that's where I started. And then got out, did about 6.5 years as a mechanical engineer, manufacturing engineer, but also got into computers at that time. And I just fell in love with digital technology, being able being able to build systems where you could put data into the internet at some weird place across the state or across the country, and then be able to serve that data up again to somebody else in a different place just fascinated me. So because of that data set, that data manipulation, that caused me to shift from engineering into technology, where I joined Dave Ramsey's team in 2001, March of 2001, and spent 15 years with Dave Ramsey, leading his digital business endeavors for his company. And then in 2016, as I say, got voted off the island there. And then God took me to another place. He actually told me take a break. He said, "Hey, you've had a hard time." That's what the Lord said to me. "Hey, you've had a hard time. Why don't you take a break?" Because I was going right back into the workforce after I left Dave's in May 2nd, 2016. So I'm like, "Oh, what does that look like, Lord?" And so I took a break that summer. And then towards the end of the year, I was kind of like, okay, I'm getting itchy here. It's been like 7 months, since I left. My severance pay is about to run out in December. I'm like, what am I going to do, Lord? And would you know it? I got a call out of the blue from a guy in Salt Lake City who wanted me to come out and
Wow.
run his personal finance company because of my background at Dave's. He gave me a call, and I went out there for an interview and then took that job. Very interesting stuff, how God does things. And then about 2 months after I got there, found out he was under investigation by the SEC for fraud. And I'm like, "Oh, tell me more about this." So he told me about it. He had 4 or 5 different businesses he was running at the time, and I was just working in one of those businesses. But I did not feel like God wanted me to leave. I'm like, no, God brought me out here for a purpose. I'm going to stick this out and see where it leads. And 3 more months after that, that ended. But before it ended, God told me to write my own book. And that became the Millionaire Choice personal finance book, and which I had no intention of writing, no intention of creating. And it was just something that God had let me into, and then released that book. So, and then, as God sometimes does, he'll throw a curve at you. He's like, "Oh, don't just write a book, but do it in 30 days. And I was like, "How do you write a book in 30 days?" And then that job ended. And so in June of 2017, I wrote 60,000 words of that book, which became The Millionaire Choice. And then in 2020, launched the Millionaire Choice podcast. 2021, launched the Purpose of Wealth live events. And then recently launched two things, my Get Business Smart podcast, and then a new book that I think we're going to talk about a little bit called 31 Days to Get Money Smart. And so that's kind of a little bit about me. I got 6 kids, ages 14 to 25, and been married 27 years. She'll be 28. And to my lovely wife, Elizabeth Ann Bradshaw. And yeah, just here in Tennessee, just trying to, do what the Lord wants us to do.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. And congratulations on the book and the podcast. Also, I want to circle back to what you said there because I truly believe God works in mysterious ways. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Tony. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about your book, your new book?
Yeah. So, what I've learned over doing this financial thing for the last, since I got into it in 2017, you could kind of say I was in it before then with Dave, but I was really just taking Dave's stuff, putting it online. I didn't have my own message or my own brand that God had called me to put out there. So, when I released the Millionaire Choice book, what I saw from releasing that book and talking to people about it was this resistance to the concept of wealth. So when you talk about being a millionaire, I mean, I literally had people tell me, "I don't want to be a millionaire." And I'm like, well, then you want to be broke, because in today's world, $1 million is really nothing. There's just not much to it. It sounds like a lot. It's a big, mystique about it. But with inflation the way it is, $1 million is really not much money. It was a little bit of money in, 2000. It was a little bit more money in 1970s, 1980s. But today it's really just not that much. But when that book came out, and I would talk to people about it, it was very off-putting for a lot of people, especially in the church. It's like there's this like wall of resistance to it. So what I've learned is that we all have different psyches where money's concerned. And so the Millionaire Choice book allowed me to talk to millionaires and people who are very wealth conscious. It did not allow me to talk to people who are not awake in the concept of wealth or, dominion over your finances. So that's what caused me to release the brand's Purpose of Wealth, which allows me to talk to pastors, nonprofit type organization people. They get it. They get it. And they go, oh, Purpose of Wealth, tell me about that. So I can explain that story. I can explain the Millionaire Choice story. And the new book is called 31 Days to Get Money Smart. And it's just a very simple book. It's only about 70 pages long. And it's just gives people a concept or a thought on wealth and money, one a day for 31 days to help them reshape how they think about money. And it's not some big, super intellectual type book that you might see. It's just really the smallest amount of information I could get out that would, help people kind of start making that jump from a scarcity mindset and being in a state of poverty to start believing in something bigger than where they're at today.
I love it. Now, Tony, what is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
Oh, wow. What a curve there. Yeah. I would have to go back for me to my childhood. I became a Christian when I was 9 years old. And I think some people become Christians, and then some people just really go after it. Go, hey, Lord, whatever you want, I want to do it. And that was me. And so at a very young age, I started kind of evangelizing the local neighborhood kids. I would do Bible readings with some of the kids around town. And then, at work, as I got into my 20s, I was reading my Bible 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. And so for me, it really comes down to surrendering to the Lord and going, Lord, whatever you want, that's what I want. So even to the point at a very young age, I started praying about my wife and who God would want me to have at in 4th grade, 5th grade, and going, Lord, I surrender my decision about my wife to you, because I know that your decision is going to be better than my decision. So I surrender that to you, and I pray for the woman that you want me to have. And I think I got that. My wife and I have very aligned on so many different things that I didn't even realize when we got married. It's been, we've been married 28 years. And even now there are just some things that are popping up. I'm like, wow, like we're aligned on that. Like, for example, my wife has taken up woodworking. And I never knew that about her, but she took up woodwork. I'm a son of a carpenter, so I grew up around woodworking and doing woodworking, and we have tools. And so she goes down into the wood shop and starts making stuff, soccer, cars, like all these weird things, but stuff that only God could align. And what I've learned in my 55 years is that the more surrendered you are to God, the more you're going to see things like that pop up in your life that you just really can't explain, like these movements or these things. And you just really got to go all in on God and on Jesus and going, hey, this, whatever you want, this is what I want. And then you got to get the rest of the junk out of your life. So several years ago, it's probably been about a decade ago, maybe a little bit longer, since this is 2025, maybe 15 years ago. One of the things I started doing is I go, you know what? I want to simplify my life. I think I've got a complex life. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Let me just simplify it. So I started trying to remove things out of my life that I thought were distractions. So, for example, I had a really bad addiction to video games from about age 25 up till about age 40. And I tried different things to quit, but I just have that kind of personality. And so I would literally have probably played about 20,000 hours of video games in my lifetime over those 15 to 20 years. And that's a waste of time. It really is. Like, they are fun and you can do things, but there's so much better stuff that you can do with your time than play video games. But I fell into that trap. So that was one of the first things I tried to remove out of my life. But what happened was, when I removed that one, another thing from my past came in to take its place. And so it was like there's these different phases of my life where I had different distractions. And as I removed one distraction, an older distraction would come back and replace it. So in that case, it became video, movies. Netflix came in and I started watching a lot of DVDs and a lot of entertainment. And then I'm like, no, this isn't good. I need to break this out. So I had to take that away. And then another distraction that was even further back would come in play. And so those are some of the things where I'm going, oh, these are the things that get in our way, that rob from us the gift that God's given us, which is our time. And I think that's one of the biggest things, Gigi, that we as Christians need to do, is just redeem our time for things that are heavenly focused. And whatever that assignment God's given us, we need to put our time towards that assignment. Like whatever God's anointed us to do, we need to take our time and reallocate that towards what God has called us to do, not towards all these distractions like television entertainment, TV entertainment, social media, for example. I hate to say it this way, but it's the way to say it, but they have found a way to monetize us while we do some of our most vulnerable moments in life. Right. So, when you get up out of bed, first thing you do is reach for your phone, start scrolling your social media or whatever else you're doing. That's monetization of your time towards something that doesn't bring any real value back to you. So we have to just watch these kinds of things. And, but those are kind of the big ones.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Tony. Now, do you have any last words for the audience?
I just think, one of the biggest things I think in life, if you want to be successful or you want to get ahead, is you've got to adopt this concept of becoming 1% better every day. And so you need to learn something new. You need to improve yourself, and then you need to apply it. And so by degrees, if you do that, you're going to end up in a really good place over your lifetime, whether that's a 5 years time span, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. But if you get this mindset of like, what else did I learn new today that I can apply in a wholesome way to my life or my family or whatever else I'm trying to do, then you're going to be okay.
Thank you, Tony. Now, where can the audience find you?
Yeah, so TonyBradshaw.com, that's TONY, Bradshaw.com. Everything I do is located on that website. I've got a 5-day challenge going on right now for people that want to get some money coaching. Check that out. And a lot of other stuff that you can get there. You can get my book for free. You can listen to my podcast, a couple podcasts I have up there. And TonyBradshaw.com, Gigi.
Thank you, Tony. And we did receive a comment here from Charlie Lewis Jr., who says, good evening, family. Thanks so much, Charlie. We appreciate you for listening in. And thank you to all of our listeners. We truly appreciate you. And Tony, thanks so much for being a guest on the Walk With Me podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Tony on all of his social media platforms and his website. God bless you and be safe.